Okay. So good evening, everyone. I hope I'm clear and audible to all of you. My name is Carlton, and I'm your TA for TDS for the September term. And primarily, we'll be dealing with tools for data science, obviously. One of the things I want to express is that TDS is probably one of those subjects which it has high practical value. So it's a very hands-on type of course. There's not a lot of theory in it. The major milestones, which I'll just share you the screen now. Just give me a second here. Okay. So some of the major milestones that you have to keep in mind is there'll be a project that will be somewhere in the next month, middle of next month, and project 2 as well. And then the ROE, which is quite infamous in the program. This is also going to be something you should be thinking about right from the very beginning. With regards to the final exam, it will be generally the final exam is much easier than all the other things we'll be doing. Just because, like I said, it's a very practical course, and in terms of theory, it's very difficult to test students on theory for a very practical type of course. So it won't be that difficult, but those will be the major milestones. With regards to project, just something to be aware, 80% of the grade for project comes from your actual submission. There will be some sets of questions on there. And I think something like 14 to 15 questions. I'm not sure. It varies from term to term. That'll produce 80% of your grade. And then 20% of that remaining grade of project 1, right? So out of 20 marks, in other words, totally 16 of it will come from your submission. The remaining 4 marks will come from reviews that peers will do for you. And the way the peer system works is there will be 3 peer reviews per submission. This may or may not be changed. I'm not sure. If anything, it will go up, not down. We are still deciding whether it should be 3 or 5 or whatever other number. But definitely at least 3 will be there. And then what will happen is if there are outliers, so imagine someone gives you 100, and the other one gives you 0. We will actually ignore the outlier. Okay, so outliers will be ignored. And likewise, when you are giving reviews to others, right? If you have given, say, for example, you have graded 3 other submissions, and your review in all those 3, none of them were outliers, right? Then you'll get 1 bonus mark. So that's an incentive for you to grade things as fairly as possible. So you get a bonus mark if none of your reviews were outliers. I hope that's clear. Did you understand what I explained?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyone has a doubt actually about what I just said? Right.
So
Okay.
how do we get to know whether our review has been out there or not?
You won't know that, right? It is when you submit it, we will see it on our end. So we
Oh,
will have a spreadsheet that tells us what each what each person has given for a review score. And the point is, if someone, so there'll be some rubrics to test against. So you will look at the rubrics and you will evaluate. And if you're honestly evaluating someone and then everybody is honestly evaluating their peers, then the rubrics will roughly give you the same sort of mark range, right? So if someone scores 80 with one of the reviewers, the other one might give you like 85, 90. The other one might give you 70. But that's still within plus or minus 30 of the other 2 reviews. So that's not an outlier, right? So then that's
yeah.
okay.
So these bonus marks will be calculated at the back end by you guys.
Yes, yes. And it's
Oh,
for the outliers part, it's only one, okay? One bonus mark for that. So it's
oh,
peer
So
reviews.
there was another project mentioned in the email. So that's like a third project, right?
No, there are only two projects. There's
Uh, we
project one
had
and project two.
we had to record ourselves making an app using LLMs.
Okay, that's not a project. That those are bonus questions. Okay, so on discourse, that's a good thing you mentioned that. So the way bonus marks works for TDS is you have to go on discourse and check it out. Normally, what I do for discourse is I subscribe to the discourse. So every time someone posts something, it sends me an email. So that's something you are able to do. Otherwise, you will miss out on important announcements, or in this case, for example, mentioned project. It's not a project; it's a bonus mark. So if, in fact, if I go, let's see here. So tools for data science. Okay. So you can see up here, it's pinned for a couple of weeks. And so this is for bonus mark. If you do this, you get a bonus mark depending on, so what will happen is Anand sir will evaluate your submission and sorry, excuse me. He'll evaluate your submission and then you will be given some mark. Just submitting it doesn't mean you automatically get a mark. Okay. Once you submit it, he will see if it meets all the criteria he laid out, and then he'll give you some marks. Many people underestimate the value of this, and I'll explain to you why. So ROE is very tough. Okay, it's called the impossible exam. I mean, there's a little discourse thread here about why it's called the impossible exam, and people generally struggle with this. Okay, so now when you look at it, you'll think, oh my, that's 20% of the mark. Assuming you get say 0 in ROE, okay, for whatever reason, then the thing to remember is you can offset that with 5 marks from bonus, right? So that's quite a big amount. And if you think 5% is not big, it's 5 graded assignments worth of bonus marks, right? So it's actually quite big. So imagine getting free 5 graded assignments. You'll take it, right? So just think about that and don't underestimate the value of these bonus marks that come through these discourse threads that Anand sir posts. And these are quite interesting to do. This is useful. If you try these out, you will gain something from it, and that's the whole idea behind it.
So what is the bonus related to the GAs? What were you saying?
So what I'm saying is, uh, the bonus. So if there are, say, for example, there are 5 bonus questions, right? You'll get 5 marks for them, right? If you do them, and that's worth 5 graded assignments worth. You see what I'm saying? I'm making the comparison, right? It's worth that much. So it's definitely worth the investment to take the time to do them. So that's all I'm saying.
Right, sir.
Okay. Himanshu, you had a question?
Yeah. Do we get any like mock or any like for this ROE?
So the mock for the ROE is usually just what ROEs were there in the previous terms. That's the
So
mock.
the pattern will be the same as whatever we have seen in the past terms ROE.
No, it is never the same. That's the thing. There is, in that sense, there is no pattern. It could be anything. And if you look at them in the past ROEs, they're all wildly different. So, but this core skills are the same, and that's the point. The core skills are you have to be able to be very comfortable with scraping HTML. You have to be very comfortable with scraping PDFs. You have to be very comfortable with extracting data from, for example, a database. You have to be very comfortable with using libraries like pandas. libraries that we will go through this term, like we usually do, like Nominatim and some various other tools. You have to be very familiar with those. But the ones that I just mentioned, those are the most important ones. Knowing some JavaScript in relation to CSS selectors. Being very comfortable with CSS selectors will help you a lot in ROE. So these things, if you're comfortable with, then you will find ROE easier. You will find it more manageable. So that is something you will have to start practicing as soon as possible. And with regards to that, your journey for that will actually start in week 2. So if I just show you this week 2, the most useful thing will be down here. So there is, so obviously this is dealing with PDFs, but so this where it says optional, okay. This is actually a very bad word because these are not really optional in the sense that these are the sessions that actually will help you the most in terms of doing your ROE, because it takes you through the very basics of how to scrape HTML, about sessions, about how to deal with authentication and things of that nature. So don't ignore these optional videos, okay? I don't know why they haven't changed this yet, but I think it's partly because it's not been done by the instructors. These were done by the previous TA who did a lot of these videos. So it's not, they are not like super official or something, but they are very useful. Okay, so definitely pay attention to those.
So how many
And
modules are there in this course? Like module 1, module 2, till where does it go?
So if you go to course introduction, did you look at the course introduction?
Yeah, I think I might have skipped that.
Yes, a lot of students do. Actually, in this course, the course introduction page is very, very valuable. So if you look on here, it tells you exactly what the plan is. So week 1 will obviously talk about the tools. Week 2, this is what's going to be there on there. So there will be data scraping, how to get data from various sources, how to extract them out of there. So, for example, how to scrape with Excel, with Google Sheets, using Python, using JavaScript. Uh, don't ignore week 2 topics, okay? This will come in ROE. This will be useful in ROE. Every term it's the same in terms of we emphasizing this. So be very, very good with week 2 content. Then ROE will also include week 3 content. So once you extract the data, you have to prepare the data. So how to do that? Because usually you will get data that's unclean or is unstructured, and you need to put it into a structured format, or you need to do some transformations on them. So that's data preparation. Then week 4 also is very important. So these 3 weeks, 2, 3, and 4, are typically what encompasses most of the challenges in ROE. So if you are very good with week 2, 3, and 4, you're well on your way to being prepared for ROE. So the workflow then is, once you prepare, once you do the analysis, then we will talk about some little more specialized tools, which are becoming important nowadays. So we'll look at LLMs. And when we are talking about LLMs, we're not talking about typing into ChatGPT. We're talking about how to use the APIs to be able to do some truly useful work with LLMs. So each student will be given some credits, some, I forget how much dollar amount of tokens, and you will then be those tokens you will then use to hit the APIs for the LLM, so that you can do some interesting work with them. Okay, and so that's going to be quite an interesting topic. Many students, we just introduced this last term, and most students on the program found this week the most interesting and useful, because it's a different way of working with LLMs than you're normally used to, and it gives you a bit of understanding of what's happening behind in the background. Then geospatial tools, again, it's just a specific kind of tool. So we'll spend some time on that because a lot of data work tends to be with things like, um, for example, looking at crime data or any sort of thing that is mapped to a real physical world, right? So that's what geospatial data will look like. Then we look at some data visualization tools, and how you can visualize data to produce various types of interesting outputs. And then finally, how to tell stories with your data. Because ultimately the goal of any work that you do, I mean, it's great that you can create a model, you've learned all this theory and you've developed this application, it produces something, right? But if you can't explain it to the person who knows nothing about models, right? To the CEO of the company or to the marketing department or to anyone else, if you're unable to tell the story, then your data is useless. All this work that you've done up till week 8, all this is useless if you can't tell the story. What is the narrative? What are you actually trying to say? What is the deep insight you're trying to make, right? So the data storytelling part is an important bit of this whole workflow. And then finally, of course, once you've prepared all that, we'll talk about some tools you can use to deploy them. And when I say about deploying, usually we're not talking about large scale deployments because that's like production level stuff. But instead, what we're talking about is small scale deployments. For a small team, you want to demonstrate something. So then we'll talk about those specialized deployment tools that will quickly help you move the data from where it is to where it should be. Aman, could you mute your mic, please? Because there's a lot of noise. Okay, thanks. Right. Someone had
Yes.
raised their hand earlier.
Yeah, I was asking a question. See,
Yes,
this
Saikat, please.
creating an application for through LLM. Could you just give a small demo for this? Because this all these things are new for me actually in this subject.
Yes. So when we come to week 5, I will give you the demo. It's so an example is, I won't show it to you right now because that will be for week 5. But generally, I'll give you an example, right? So imagine you have a site where you're getting lots of reviews, okay, and you want to get an idea of what these reviews are saying, right? In terms of are these reviews good? Are they bad? Don't imagine there are no, the star rating is not there, but they're actually written reviews, right? So an LLM can do what's called sentiment analysis, right? You feed it some data and there will be thousands and thousands of rows of these data. So you're not going to sit and copy paste them into GPT, right? That's not going to be helpful. Instead, you want the LLM to take all this data in one go and then give you a summary. Okay, is the what is the sentiment of the people who are doing these reviews? And in fact, better than a product, let's talk about in terms of an election. So imagine there's all these tweets, all this social media stuff that's going on, and if you're somehow able to accumulate that data or a sample of it, and you want to know, what do people think about the candidate or things of that sort, right? Then you feed this into an LLM. An LLM is able to intelligently tell you or summarize to you what the sentiment is. People don't like this policy. People really love this policy. When you get that kind of insight, that's actually very powerful, right? And so that's an example of sentiment analysis where you'll be able to gauge the sentiment, and we'll show you how to do that uh, by using an API. Same with the LLM extraction. I remember an extraordinary moment, really, and it was last term. So when preparing for TDS project, one of the things we had to do was we had to um, collect a large volume of data, and it was not very clean. And we were writing scripts to clean this data, and it was very challenging because not only was it not clean, one document to the other document, they were very different. So constantly tweaks had to be made, and to write a script to do all this kind of cleaning, it takes weeks of work. So then what happened is, in a moment of brevity, we just thought, hey, you know what, let's feed one of these PDFs into the LLM and see if it can deliver to us structured data from this unstructured data. So we wanted data in the form of a nice JSON, okay, so that we can then do some real world processing on it and make the project ready for students to use. And guess what? Something that took us weeks to do, the LLM was able to extract the information exactly the way we wanted it in like 15 seconds. That's transformational. That is really amazing, right? So LLM extraction, this is very useful to learn. Then topic modeling is something else we will talk about. This has got to do with creating functions without writing any code. And now I know it sounds trivial at the moment, but we'll do I hope, an astonishing demonstration. I hope you're astonished, because I'm quite astonished by it, where we will not write any code and we will create some functions, and these functions we will execute on the LLM, and you will see that if you know how truly amazing that is. And then retrieval augmented generation. So that's got to do with using something called embeddings, and we will discuss that in that week. I won't overload you with information right now, but this is a very, this is a really great and upcoming field. So we will teach you some of the things in there, and you will find it very useful. Right. So that's the broad outline of things.
Actually, I was asking from this this bonus point project point of view. What has
Oh,
been
you
mentioned?
mean you mean this one?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. What did you want to do?
See, I just want to know how to do this. Just give some demo kind of thing. This happens like this, something, so that I understand the things actually. And this is completely new for me. That is why.
Okay, basically it's open to you, right? So just choose any kind of application you think you want to create, right? It could be like, for example, create a notebook application or a notepad application or a calculator application, anything you want, any kind of application. Use any language that you're comfortable with. So say, for example, you want to use Python or something, whatever maybe you like using Java, you could use Java also. So use the LLM to create the application, and then you have to record it, what you're doing, and then share the video and the app, and that's all it is. So I'm not sure what exactly you want me to demonstrate, but
If
say, for
you can just
example,
take an example and show, that will help actually.
okay, why don't you give me an example?
Like you said, calculator. We can see this
Yeah,
calculator.
so so maybe you can do this. So you can say, I would like to create a calculator app in Python, right? So it's saying there are two ways to go about it. One is a text-based calculator, and it's giving you the pseudocode to and once you implement these functions, so if you don't know how to do these particular functions, then you can ask it questions, right? How do I create these functions? So I know this is a very trivial example, but it doesn't matter, but it's already giving an example here. So it's creating functions for you. And you put this calculator together, and then you deploy the application. And depending on how good your application is, you will get a bonus mark for it, right? It's basically
Okay.
producing everything for you. You are not doing anything, right? It's producing the entire program, as you can see.
Understood.
And
Okay.
yeah, and so that's the idea, to if you read it carefully, see, he's saying just create an application and use only an LLM to create it. You know, you're not allowed to write a single or edit a single line of code. Basically, what you have to do is you have to copy paste whatever it produces.
Can you
He's
show what you
saying,
wrote?
sorry?
Can you show what you wrote on the ChatGPT?
I just wrote, I would like to create a calculator app in Python. That's it. Right? And it created this code for me. Okay. It produces this code. But the key to this bonus mark is you're not allowed to even edit any code. Any editing, what you have to do is you have to copy paste this code into VS Code, for example. Okay. And see if it works. So say, for example, I'll copy paste this code now.
We need to show whole process or only
Yes. The whole process has to be the whole
what
process
prompt we are
has to be
writing on the
video recorded.
ChatGPT. That also.
Yes, everything. The whole process has to be recorded. Your screen has to be recorded so that everything has to be done in a single edit. That's the challenge. It's if you can just take whatever time you want, then it's not a challenge, right? So the challenge is to share your screen for the full 10 minutes. You have to do everything that is using ChatGPT only.
So and we have to like deploy it and somewhere
yes,
like
correct. I
in
mean, you just have to
Streamlit or
read. Yeah, just read the instructions. So after it creates the application, then you can do things like you can say, I would like to deploy this application in Streamlit. Can you produce the steps to do it? Right. So then it will create some more code for you. And if it makes an error, right? The point is you cannot even correct the error. You're not allowed to correct the error by yourself. You have to correct the error using the GPT itself. You feed the error back into the GPT and say this error came up. So let's say week 1 TDS.
When is the deadline for this project?
7th of October, I think.
7th of October.
7th of October.
So it says over here, cutoff date is 7th of October. Yeah. So just read this carefully, okay? Read it line by line, see exactly what the sir is asking. Do exactly what it says. As you can see, it says record the entire process in 10 minutes. Don't edit the video, don't trim the video, don't enhance, don't annotate the video. You should record yourself creating the entire app from start to finish. But you can practice beforehand, okay? Before you do this for real, okay? So you can do many tries beforehand, but then when you start doing it, record the process in 10 minutes. That's what you have to do.
Sorry, sir, I joined the late this session. Like
Sure.
you are saying that we have to create a project LLM only using the ChatGPT, right?
Yes.
Or where I showcase this project, or where I have to upload the project file or this project?
Yeah. So it shows you. It tells you here, right? Did you read this post?
No, sir.
Okay. So read this post, and all the instructions are given here. So it says, for example, you can host it on GitHub pages. That's a good place to host it, or any of these other platforms. Whatever you're comfortable with, you post it on there. Or if you cannot host it, then you can upload it as a zip file, but you will get slightly lower marks. But read this post. All the questions are answered there. Okay.
Sir, in a GitHub page,
Maximum.
only
The maximum is 1, right?
Sorry.
The maximum bonus is from this is 1, right?
Yes, 1 mark. Yes. I mean, it's only a 10-minute job, right? So it's quite good, right? For 10 minutes you spend and you get 1 bonus mark. I would do it.
So the video is 10 minutes. The effort behind it is like 5 to 6 takes.
That depends on you, right? And depends on what you're trying to do. And remember, if it's something very trivial, then obviously, this is what the criteria is, okay? how well you prompt the LLM, how impressive the app is. If you have hosted it, then he doesn't have to run the code, so there's less work for him. So obviously he'll give you marks for that. You know, how closely you followed these rules. So yeah, so think about it carefully, and then once you think about it, then yeah.
So,
Sir,
I had another.
sir, let hosted I
Uh,
made a like a program and hosted in the GitHub page, right? And sir,
Yes.
where I put the link so that IITM teams can visit it.
So you can see on Discourse, this guy has already done it. He did it 3 days ago, right when it was launched. He's
Oh,
put
we
it
have
over
to
here.
put
See,
in
he's
the
put the
post.
yes. This we won't be able to check it, right? Anand sir won't be able to check it. You have to put it in this Discourse post, not anywhere else. Okay, don't create a separate Discourse post. In this Discourse post, you post it over there. So you can
Wow.
hit the reply button and put it on there. So you
Okay,
can
sir.
see someone else has done it as well.
Sir,
So
we have to make a sir video.
yes, make a video of this process about using the LLM,
Oh,
creating the application.
oh,
Yeah. So it's
So
not
do we need
content,
also
right?
record the audio or the commentary for
no
it?
commentary. It's just see, don't edit, trim, enhance, or annotate the video. There's nothing. Just you should record yourself creating the entire app from start to finish. That's it.
Okay. Okay.
That's all you have to do. Nothing. There is no editing involved. So no adding
So simple,
audio or
right, sir?
anything. Yeah. Just you have to record your screen basically. Doing that
so I
from
had
start to
another doubt.
finish.
Is what is the difference between a mobile app and a web app? What are we looking at here?
This is just a normal app, right? Any kind of app.
Okay,
That is
so
hosted on a page that you can that someone can use. So it should be
it's like
accessible. It should be accessible through a browser, effectively.
Sir, I'm so
right.
sorry.
Is an HTML page considered to be an app?
It's totally up to the professor to decide whether he considers it an app or not, right?
So
It's got to do
I don't
something.
have like I have no idea about this. That's why I'm asking you.
So
Is it considered only?
just a static HTML page won't be an app, right? It's not doing something
Um,
useful, right?
yeah. If we
Okay,
see
so what if it's
if we see a
typing
blog,
and it's
yeah.
So an app is something that does something, right? So
Sir,
like I just showed, so I showed over here a calculator, right? It does something.
right, sir. Web calculator is fine, sir.
I mean, if all of you do web calculators, is it going to be useful? I mean, see, the criteria is I'm not setting the criteria, right? He's saying how impressive the app is. He's going to decide whether your app is impressive or not. So how impressive it is up to you. It's completely open-ended. It's up to you to decide, right?
So I have a question. Where would you host this app, your calculator app? Where would the final thing where would the final thing be?
So if I was doing it, I'd probably use Streamlit and then connect it through Heroku or some platform like that and deploy it that way. That's how I would do it. I mean, Heroku is an option, but you can use anything wherever you want, wherever you're
But
comfortable with doing
Heroku
it.
isn't free, right? Heroku isn't free right now.
Heroku is not free, but you can do it wherever you want, right? My
I think
point is that
Streamlit
I guess,
also provide the
yes,
yeah,
deployment.
Streamlit
yeah,
provides free deployment,
yeah.
but it's
GitHub
for a single
Pages,
page.
GitHub Pages also is free, so you can use GitHub Pages.
Yeah, you can use also Netlify and Vercel for like
Yeah.
bigger apps.
Yeah, so there's no restriction. Anything you can use, whatever you want, you can use. You can even find out through ChatGPT. I mean, not while you're recording, obviously, but you can find out where whatever you feel comfortable using to deploy it. But the key is it should be accessible, right? We should be the professor should be able to run your app from wherever you're hosting it.
Right. So
So,
Yeah, you shouldn't have to
excuse
do any
me,
work.
sir, I'm new
Sure.
to programming, like
Yes.
totally new. So, after you gave prompt in the
Yeah.
chat GPT, what will be the next step? Like you'll copy
Yeah.
and
So
paste.
so for example, I'd copy the code here, and then I'll put it in
Will this session video will be recorded and streamed on the YouTube?
I mean, we will record it and put it on the TDS playlist.
Okay.
So, so I didn't write any code. Now I'm not supposed to edit this at all. Okay. So let's run it. Let's see what happens. So you can see the app is running. So that's good. No errors so far. So if I do 4 divided by 0, let's see what happens. Okay. All right. Okay, so it knows it got invalid input. That's good. So I didn't write any code, right? So let's try that again. Oops. So there's an error, right? Something went wrong. I put the first number as 4, second number as 4, put the division, but now I'm not allowed to edit this code. So what I have to do is I have to take this error, and this is the key to this, right? This exercise. I take this error, put this error back in here, and I have to let ChatGPT do all the editing. So that's the point. So this code is no good, right? So the reason it's not working, I mean, if you look at it, it does all these functions, but as you can see, these functions are not defined, right? Each of these individual functions are not defined. That's why you got the error. But I'm not allowed to touch this code. Any editing that has to be done, I have to specifically ask ChatGPT to give me the code. So I can copy this code and put it in there.
Sir, if any error comes, we have to solve with the chat GTP or any LLM, right?
Yes, you cannot edit the code directly. You have to use ChatGPT. You have to put the error in ChatGPT, and it should solve the problem.
We have
So
only
as you can
the
see,
yes.
yeah,
We
as you can
only,
see, yeah.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So as you can see, I just copy pasted the correction, right? I didn't do anything else. And obviously we know that it needs these 3 as well, right? So let's go back here. We know those errors will come. I don't know if it did the other functions. No, it didn't do the other functions. So I have to, now to get those other functions, I have to tell it, could you please create, add, subtract, and multiply functions as well.
Sir, this course is more funnable or enjoyable that I have thought, sir. Very nice.
Yeah, well, it will get better. We are just scratching the surface. So without knowing any code or anything, you can see now it's produced the 4 functions, or rather the 3, 1. Okay, it's produced all 4 of them. So I want this copy, and I paste them into here, right? So now I can run it again, and hopefully this time there'll be no issues. So it's working, right? Great. And hit exit. So that didn't work. Okay. So you can see, so that's just a quick example, right? I hardly took few seconds, but the key thing to remember is you're not allowed to edit the code. Only ChatGPT has to edit the code. That's it. Okay.
Sir, after that, after creating that perfect app,
Yes. So then you have to ask it how to deploy it. So for example, it tells you to deploy on, where is it, Streamlit. So it wrote an app here. Okay. So Streamlit is an application that you import a library called Streamlit. You create this, copy this into Streamlit, and then you run it, and then you can test it locally, and then you have to push it somewhere. So you can push it on GitHub and run it from there also. So that's what it says. So you have to follow the instructions. The point is follow exactly what ChatGPT is saying. And if you get any errors, feed the error back into it and ask it to solve the error. I hope you understood the workflow.
Sir, if I have already an account on GitHub, right, sir?
Yes.
I create any program using the ChatGPT and check in locally in a VS Code and copy that code and paste in the GitHub page and right and save it, and the code link of that code we have to share, right?
You have to share your working app.
Working app means, sir?
I mean the app, we should be, Anand sir should be able to use the app. I mean, if you want an example, look at what others have done, right? So, I mean, here's where the person has done this app or whatever, I think.
Yes, sir, right, saying I'm saying that, sir.
Yeah. So.
No, I mean deployment, I guess he means link URL to access it.
I mean, over here.
Because he said if he won't see the code, like if the app is deployed.
See, let's have a look at this one. Yeah, okay. So this is an application, right?
Yeah, kind of like this.
So this is an application. This is just code. I mean, it's not going to be, it's not an app, right? I mean, I wouldn't call this an app, would you?
This called only yes, sir, only share the code, sir.
Yeah, this is an app. See, this is an app. So you can edit, and you can say,
Sasta tutor.
It's a very simple app, but the point is it works, and this was created in 10 minutes. So this person.
This is a web page, right?
No, it's not. It's interactive, right? I mean, this is not static.
Yeah, interactive web page.
We are creating posts, right? So it's something, right? It's an app.
Right.
It's a Sasta Twitter or something,
Got it.
Yeah. But my point is how complex you want to make. I'm not saying this is going to get 1 mark. I don't know. It depends on what impresses Anand sir, right? So it's up to you to decide. That's the point. But you have to be able to create it in 10 minutes. This person has created this in 10 minutes using, so let's for example,
sir,
just.
Our share link is checked by the Anand sir.
Yes, Anand sir will check it.
Okay.
So if we look at the video, right, of what this person has done. Oh, whoops. I apologize for that. So obviously they've added music to it for some reason, but anyway, you can see the person doing it here, right? So in 10 minutes, they're going to do everything to make this app possible. So you can try it out.
We have only 10 minutes.
Yeah, you have exactly 10 minutes and you have to record. This is how you should record it. So, and no editing is allowed. Everything has to be done in 10 minutes. You cannot break it, cut it, nothing, right? So anyway, I won't go through that, but that gives you an idea. Okay, I hope that's clear. Right.
Yes.
So so that's about the bonus mark anyway. How did you guys find? Did you manage to go through these tools and things of that sort just to get familiar with all this content?
So the content is quite lengthy.
So yes. I have a question. Like, if I skip the everyday tools and follow the lectures of module 2 to 9 clearly, all the videos, will I pass? Will I do well in this course?
Yeah, you can do well in the course. See, the question is, I mean, are you doing this just to get a grade, or you're doing this because you want to be a someone working in the industry? I mean, that's the question you have to answer for yourself.
I
Right?
mean, if I have to be proficient, I should be like both should go simultaneously hand in hand, right?
Both is what? What is the both?
Getting a good grade as well as being, employable.
Yeah, but they're not mutually exclusive things, right? You can
So
get a good grade and not be employable. You agree?
I do, but what is a solution? Everything should have a solution, right?
So the solution is learning, right? You have to be honest with yourself. That's the solution.
So honestly, as a person who has taken 3 courses in this semester, so how do I manage all these videos in a week?
So I could ask you the
I
same
take
question,
4
right?
subjects.
Yeah. So I also have taken 3 subjects. I've got 30 hours of TDS to do. And there are no 2 TAs. Every term there are 2 TAs for TDS. So I have to still do the sessions, prepare the materials in the background. Plus I have a personal life as well. So how do I do that then? Right?
Right.
It's
It's called
totally
time
up to you
management,
how you
right?
manage.
Yes, it's time management, right? So I have nearly a full-time job, and still I have to do this course. So it's time management. That's what I can say. You'll have to choose where your priorities are. And like I said, the most important thing is be honest with yourself, right? Only you know what you know, in other words. So, I mean, a good example I can give is imagine, so there's all these tools available. Basically, you can copy paste from these tools, right? And that can feasibly give you a good grade in TDS, sure. But when you go to a technical interview and you are not able to articulate uh, why there is a problem or solve a problem, then whatever you have learned is actually been a waste of time, right? Because that's what it would be. You studied for 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is. You go to the technical interview and you can't actually deliver what they're expecting. So you've wasted your time. So that's what I mean by being honest with yourself.
So like,
You
I just wanted to know, like, see, for example, the course Python was covered over a duration of 12 weeks, and that's
Sure.
the only thing we had learned in the
Yes.
in 12 weeks. Right now,
Yes.
what we have been given is a lot of stuff, Excel, Bash, all these together in a week. Sir,
We are not. Yeah, we are not expecting you to be experts in that. We are just introducing you to the tools.
Yes,
So,
normal
so
day-to-day
what?
life, how you
y-
use.
Yeah. So what TDS is doing is it's saying. So the goal of the professor is to say these are the tools you will be using going forward. We don't expect you to become experts at it in 1 week or even in 12 weeks. Yeah. But what we do expect you to do is we are at least letting you know, right, that this is what you'll be using going forward. And you'll get some practice with it while you're in these next few weeks. So that's all it is. How deep you want to go into it is completely up to you, really. If you feel that, this is good stuff, this is valuable stuff, then you will automatically choose to learn it in a more deeper fashion. I mean, there was another TA sitting here and earlier, and I was looking at his work, and he was doing something, and I said, "Oh, why are you doing this?" And he said, "Oh, I want to learn this more. I think this is valuable, and I want to study this deeply." So, he's taking initiative because he thinks it's valuable. So that's what you got to decide what the value is to you. So that's what I can say.
so honestly, as a student at this stage, I don't really know what's coming up. So how do I decide what's valuable and what's not? And how do I know what's industry relevant and not? I do not have any practical experience.
But
I've
that's
just
why.
started.
Okay, so have you listened to this podcast?
Not really.
Okay, so that's the first mistake you're doing, right?
I
You're
didn't
not
know
even
that
in.
was a podcast. I didn't know it was hyperlinked.
Right. So that's the first mistake you're doing, right? Which is you're not even attempting to um, examine what we have provided. So if you don't even do that, then How will
No,
you be
sir.
able to get this
I think,
information?
see, I had started with the videos. You cannot tell I didn't start. I had started with the videos. I didn't complete it. And I didn't know that podcast was hyperlinked. I just got to know when you asked initially to someone
Yeah.
else.
Yeah. So hyperlinks look like this, right? They're like blue, purple color things, right? So that's what hyperlinks are. So that's a hyperlink. I mean, do you just ignore these, or because these are all useful? If you go to week 2, in fact, most of the important things will not be in the video. It will actually be in these hyperlinks. So these are not hyperlinks, but these are. And some of the most useful things will be things like these notebooks, right? So this says BBC location ID notebook. If you ignore all these, right, you will really struggle with the course. So I opened this link and it takes you to this notebook. It shows you all this code. And if you understand what this does, you will have gained something very valuable, because it's something that might be asked in an ROE, right? Where you might have to extract some information about weather or something, for example. So yeah, the reason we are providing this is not for fun, right? We are providing this so that these are learning resources. So we are making available to you the widest possible useful things that you can use. So that's what. If you don't give enough, right? If you give very little, then you might say that, okay, what's the point of this course, right? It's not really that valuable. So we are actually trying to give you useful things. That's what we are trying to do. So this is a hyperlink, right? So yeah.
So your voice is occasionally breaking. Is it just for me?
Sorry. If I'm not audible, am I audible now?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yes, you are
But it's for
fine
me
for me.
also.
Okay. Right. Okay. So there's not much in week 1. I mean, obviously, it's just like I said, it's introduction to the tools. And if you just go over some of this beginner stuff, and that's what they most done. Bash will be a little bit useful. But again, we are not expecting you to become experts, but at least know the basics. And this, I think this video covers the basics, okay? And I had posted a link. I don't know if guys were here earlier, but it's pinned. I don't know if you can see, there's a drive link for all of you who are here. That link leads to a very, very good book on how to use Bash and basically the Unix shell commands. I highly recommend that book, okay, which is pinned in the chat window. It's written by one of our own guys over here, and it's really, really good stuff. So,
Sir, this LLM project have any end date, sir?
yes. So if you look on here on the post, it says the cutoff date is 7th October, right?
Oh.
Yeah. So one thing I will give advice with regards to TDS, read everything. Okay. I know in other courses, and I'm guilty of it too. Usually reading all this is not useful in other courses. This is one big difference between TDS and other courses. Whatever you read here is actually useful, right? So for example, if I go to this week 2, if I go to the very bottom here, right? These are all useful things, right? This is not the case with other courses, but in this course, make sure, sorry, excuse me, make sure to read everything, because any of this could be useful in, for example, your end term, or some of these, like for example, this Pokey API, right? So it's asking a question here. So solving this question, that's going to be useful to you. Solving this question is going to be useful to you, because these are skills you will need in an ROE or in a project, right? So that's one thing I want to make very clear. Make sure you read everything that is there. Okay, it's none of this is useless things. None of this is useless. So just read everything. Don't ignore anything. I mean, even the course introduction page, which I talked about earlier, that's something other courses, it's mostly useless stuff, right? So, but here it actually contains whole roadmap. You're asking about how do you prepare, how do you know what's important? Well, it tells you. I mean, if it's got a heading, it's going to be important, right? So these are the things we're going to cover. These are the things we're going to cover. These are all the subject material we're going to cover. So that will help you to plan what to do for TDS. So, and of course, they've also talked about how the grading part of it works, which is in the grading document, all this detail is not there, right? And we have seen this term after term, students just ignore this and they'll come to the end of the term and they still won't know any of this stuff. And they will ask questions regarding this, right? That's because they don't read it. And I can't entirely blame students for that. It's partly because other courses don't produce useful information in these pages, right? It's mostly watch the lecture video, do the activity question, do the practice assignment, do the graded assignment. Correct? Am I correct?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yeah. So that's so I understand. Okay, I'm not blaming you for it, right? So because of that, you have been accustomed to not reading it. So I'm telling you in for week 1 itself, read all of it, because in TDS that's the difference. It's a very practical course, and the lectures will be somewhat helpful, and but we'll be doing a lot of hands-on work. Obviously not for week 1, because week 1 is just the tools themselves, as in the basic things. But then week 2 onwards, we will have more hands-on. In fact, all the sessions going forward will be very hands-on. And I'll also ask you in the session, to share your screens and code along or try things along with me. And hopefully you will gain a lot from that. Okay. Right. So there's not much else for me to talk about today. Is there anything specific you want to, anything else you want me to address? Yes, Himanshu, please go ahead.
Will unanswered is going to take any session?
No, the professor does not take any sessions personally. It's only the instructors and myself as the team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir,
I mean,
does any of the modules contain the content related to JavaScript or CSS, or do we have to learn it ourselves?
so JavaScript in week 2, there is some little bit of JavaScript. We don't expect you to be experts in JavaScript. But if you look at, for example, I'll show you, it's this video here, scraping IMDb browser with JavaScript.
Okay.
So when we say JavaScript, what we are really meaning is the ability to use CSS selectors. That's what we are talking about as far as
Okay.
JavaScript scraping is concerned. And don't worry, week 2, I mean, I'm not covering week 2 today because it just got released a couple of days ago, right? So none of you have had the chance to actually watch the videos and read the things or try them out yourself. But the next TA session is next Sunday. So possibly, yeah. So in next TA session, I will address, we will start showing you some of these things, how to do. But as far as JavaScript is concerned, if you know how to use JavaScript on the console to find CSS, to use CSS selectors, that will be sufficient. You won't need to know much more than that. Okay.
Okay.
Watch this video. This is a great video. Good video.
Sure, sir.
Highly
Thank you.
recommend this. Any other
Sir,
questions?
and what kind of questions will be there in ROE? I mean, will the question ROE and both the projects, will the questions be like the graded assignments or something else? The pattern
No,
would be
no.
something
Yeah, ROE
other
is
than that.
completely, ROE is a completely different beast. So,
Okay.
yeah, ROE, what happens is, I mean, I'll give you some examples of past ROEs, right? So, in one ROE, what happened is there was Cricinfo website. I don't know how many of you are familiar with it, but there's ball by ball commentary on there, right? So, students were asked to scrape the commentary of a particular match
Okay.
and be able to get all the each and every over, what the dot balls were, what the scores were, etc., etc. And then they were supposed to do some analysis on it and produce. There were some sets of questions they had to answer, and they had to do all this scraping, extracting information, putting it into some method which will enable them to answer some quantitative question. They had to do all that in 45 minutes.
Oh, just that crick info only. The questions related to crick info. Look,
Yeah, so that was one
okay.
example, but it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
super
So,
tough. Yeah.
that in that ROE, only crick info was the focus.
Yes, but that
Okay.
was a very, very hard ROE because if you looked at the site,
Hmm.
it does not give you all the information on one page,
Right,
right?
right,
What happens is there was a programmatic element to that page, which to get the additional commentary, you have to physically scroll down the page,
right.
right? And
Yeah,
when
it
you're
just
talking
gives the
about,
current matches, right?
no, it's worse than that. It gives you like I think 1 or 2 hours worth of commentary. So
Yeah.
so there is a big programmatic element that had to be dealt with to scrape all the information from it. And
Oh,
the question they will ask is not going to be a simplistic question, right? It's not a question
right.
you will be able to eyeball and answer. No chance.
Okay.
ROE is never like that. You will never be able to
Hmm.
eyeball the question and answer it,
Okay.
right? So that's one example. Then the next ROE, completely different. So the next ROE, there was all sorts of PDFs in there, and the data in the PDF was deliberately unclean. So now you had to extract it somehow, clean up the data, and then you had to concatenate information from different parts of the PDF to produce some answer of multiple questions. Again, very, very tough job. So that was another ROE, completely different ballgame. PDFs, right?
Okay. So, they won't be correlated and you can expect anything.
Anything at
Yeah.
all.
Okay.
But the key tools are the same, which is
Right, right.
expect to learn HTML scraping,
Yeah.
be comfortable with scraping using JavaScript. The reason we say be comfortable scraping with JavaScript is because some sites are not very good to extract information from. So their
Okay.
JavaScript will save your skin there.
Hmm.
So that's why it's useful. Then
Okay.
the other thing we tell is to be good at scraping from PDFs. The other thing we tell you is to be good at extracting data from a database. So last term ROE, there were separate sets of data. Okay, one set of data was in the form of a Parquet file. The other set of data was from SQL database. The third set of information was in a PDF. Now you have to extract all three, combine them into some table because each of them had a different view of the same data, but different parts of the data. You combine those three and then you have to answer these questions. So now you have to employ three different types of skills, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. ROE, you cannot predict what is going to be there. So, but the core skills are the same. If you know those core skills well, you will actually be able to do it.
All right.
And one more thing with ROE, it's completely open book. So it's not proctored. No one's watching you or anything. And it's completely open book. You can use Chat GPT. You can use a friend. You can, do whatever you want to be able to answer the exam. Uh, but that itself should give you an indication why it is difficult.
And that
The
is the
fact,
most dangerous thing.
yes. So that's what it will test you. See, what ROE is going to test you on is going to test your intuition. You see, if you are very good with something, you will have intuition about something, right? You will be able to do it quickly. So that's what it's going
Right.
to test you on, right? You
Okay.
won't have time to search for the information or the answer,
Right.
right? So that's what it is, right?
Okay.
Yes,
So where
Himanshu.
can we
Thank
get
you.
these databases and PDFs and everything? Just for practice?
Sorry, Himanshu had raised his hands. I'll just answer his question.
Can you somehow get those questions like whatever you have mentioned?
Previous ROEs.
Yeah.
I think if you check on Discourse, you might find them actually on there. And also the instructors might do a couple of them as practice.
So we have to check on the discourse.
I think on Discourse there will be some, yeah. So you can have a look on there. If I find something, I will make it available as well. But the instructors also themselves, I think they will take, I think last term they took a session or two sessions where they tried it out, with the students to solve the ROE,
Okay.
previous ROEs.
Okay. So before the our ROE exam, they will take this kind
Yes,
of question.
yes. Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And also, we'll also, I mean, I say we, it's me, but hopefully there'll be another TA, I don't know. But I'll also be helping you all with preparing for ROE. So I've done some, if you look at last term's TA sessions, revision sessions for ROE, you will find those very useful actually, because we had really helped students to really understand what are some of the key things to learn for ROE. So even if you feel like getting ahead of the game, as it were, if you watch those sessions, they will help you. Yes, Kaustav.
Sir, what will be the type of question, MSQ or MCQ or NAT?
For ROE,
Yeah, ROE.
I cannot be sure. So every term, it used to be where you actually physically enter the information into the portal to answer the ROE. But last term was the first term where they actually asked you an MCQ style ROE. So it was a little bit easier for students to score marks, because if you blindly answer them, there's a 1 in 4 chance you will get, each question right. So, but that doesn't mean that it will be MCQ this time. I mean, I don't know. I am not sure what they will do. Each term they do something different. But typically, most terms they have not done MCQ. Most terms you had to actually enter the answer.
Okay.
Sir, by when do we expect the GA2 to be released?
We are hoping probably by tonight, if it so we have done some validation on it. So Professor Anand has to just approve it and push it. So probably by tonight. If I mean, if there is a delay, we will obviously make some adjustments for the submission date also. So you don't have to worry too much about it. But having said that, please go through week 2 videos. Okay, this is not just useful for GA. This week 2 videos will be useful for ROE. Really start thinking about ROE right now. And there's a link here. I know you guys generally will not read, but you see this link here?
Yes, I went through that post.
Yeah. So it's a good post. So you can go through that. I think I've made a post as well where someone asked about the fairness of ROE or something. So you can look that up, and that's you'll get my opinion on it there.
And your mother's advice.
Yeah. Yes, Hassan, that's true. You'll get some of my mother's advice on there. Right. Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. Is Simple App okay? Yeah, yeah. I mean, Simple App is okay. I mean, you don't. It's up to you. The only thing I would say is just keep in mind that you will get some marks for sure if you make something, right? But how much marks will be depend on. I mean, this is the criteria that Anand sir has given, right? How well you prompt the LLM, how impressive the app is, and how closely you follow the rules. So
Sir, follow the rule means which rule, sir?
these rules.
Oh, these 4 rules.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Right, and possibly this one.
Sir, I think more than 2 marks is better, sir. It's going
Okay.
10 minutes
By the way,
long.
I just wanted, yeah, Vivek, I just want to make sure clear to you. I'm not sir, okay? I'm just Carlton. I'm just a
Okay,
student
sir.
like you guys, okay?
No, sir. My thought is I'm saying to you, sir.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, but still. Yeah, if you call me sir, then I will call you sir also, Vivek sir. Okay, Vivek sir.
You are for me, sir. Like, because you are giving knowledge to us.
No, brother. I also learn from my students. So it's both. It's two way. What happens is you will see in the coming courses. I mean, in the coming weeks, we'll be doing things together, and I'll also learn from you guys, and you will also learn from me. So it's both two way. Okay.
Okay, sir. So no thanks, no welcomes.
Thanks and welcome. This is all. Those are all polite things. No issues with that. But no need to call me sir. Yeah.
So what I call you, sir?
Just call me Carlton.
Karthik.
Carlton. My name is
Carlton.
Carlton.
Okay, sir. Okay, Carlton.
Okay, Vivek, sir. Okay.
Very nice, sir. Thank you.
All right. So I know there was not too much information in this first session. That's because we haven't really gotten into the core content. So, Himanshu has a question. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Himanshu.
you just now said about some deadline. I just missed that. Can you?
Yeah. So the deadline for this bonus marks, for this particular bonus mark I'm talking about, LLM
It's
app
7th
deployment.
October, right?
Yeah. So that's 7th October. Yeah.
But
And
you said
with
you.
regards, yeah, with regards to the GA, because GA2 has not been released, ideally it should have been released on Friday. Because there's a slight delay in releasing GA2, the deadline for that will be adjusted accordingly.
Okay.
Okay. So if there's no other questions, then we'll conclude this session.
Yeah, excuse me, Carlton.
Yes, go ahead, Amit.
The CSS.
Yes. What about?
The CSS and JavaScript is sufficient. How much? Like only it's sufficient. We can scrape the our data from the site. It's
Correct. Yes.
otherwise whenever from where we watch or teach, they teach us like a developer. No one is ready to only for scraping.
Yes, that's why I mentioned this video. This video is very good. This video is excellent for that.
I watched this video.
You watched that video, right? So that's why it's a wonderful video. You don't have to become an expert in JavaScript or anything. If you learn how to do this, that's sufficient.
Okay. And CSS and JavaScript both are
Yes,
important.
definitely be very familiar with CSS though. Okay, what CSS is, what HTML is. That you will have to be familiar with,
Yeah,
because
HTML is okay, but
yeah,
CSS and JavaScript.
yeah, definitely the CSS part of it for sure.
Okay. The selector one.
Yes, so that you, because the reason I say that is like I'll show you here, for example. Okay, so when I hope you guys know this already. This is called the Dev Tools, right? And if you're not using Chrome browser, I highly recommend you use Chrome browser. So there are various elements on this page, right? So when you click on these elements, you can see that there are various styles that are applied to it, right? And if you look on here, so this is got this class for it, for example. So how do you extract this particular information, right? That's what it comes down to, and that's what you're doing when you're doing web scraping. So for example, if you want to get all these labels from here, right? So what class is it? So it's going to be this one, units underscore items ng star inserted, right? So that's how you'll be able to extract them. So if I, for example, go here, right? See, so you'll get extract the information from these classes. So this is why we emphasize that CSS is going to be important. Understand how CSS works and understand how HTML works. Because if you don't understand the tree structure, then you are going to struggle to scrape data from sites. Okay, so that's the reason we mentioned it. But I will talk about these things in week 2. Yes, Himanshu.
I don't have like Excel, so do I need any Excel lab for this?
Yeah. So
if I talk about
Excel.
ROE.
Yeah. So Excel you can get free, right? There's
Yeah, I can get the cloud Microsoft 365. I think
yes,
it's
yes.
free.
So yeah, that's fine. You don't need anything else.
Okay, it will
As
work.
long as yeah, I mean, almost everything will. There is 1 week's content where, I mean, we won't ask you questions about it, but it's demonstrated because it's very nice. So this week 7, you see this visualizing forecasts with X. No, that's not it. Where is it? I think it is this one actually. So it says visualizing forecast with Excel. I'm not sure that's the right word for it, but there is a fantastic video. Okay, and I'll show it to you maybe some next time or something. But basically, it's like the map of New York, and in there there are two competitors. One is Starbucks, and the other one is Dunkin' Donuts or something like that, or McDonald's, I think, right? So Starbucks is premium coffee, and McDonald's is cheap coffee. And the video was a 3D video, a flyover 3D video of the of the city of New York, actually Manhattan to be specific, and it did a fantastic job of visualizing the customer base of these two groups. And that, believe it or not, that was done with Excel. There's some really amazing, powerful 3D tools in there, video 3D tools in Excel, and it was really great.
So
So
we cannot
that,
do this in this.
so correct. So that you will not be able to do in your free version. But at least you will get to know that these things are possible. So we will. That's why we show it, but we won't ask you any questions specific to that. But it's again introducing you to the tool so that you understand. Hey, we can do these kinds of amazing things just by using Excel. We don't have to use some fancy software to do it.
Correct.
Right. So yeah. And in fact, this one of our students got so inspired by that video. He made his own version where he made Bangalore. He compared Pizza Hut and Domino's, and made a sort of video that showed, and it's posted on Discourse, by the way. If you go to TDS and search for it in TDS, he had done a similar video where he done the 3D mapping projection and things like that. It was really cool. So yeah. But that you won't be able to do with the free version of Excel. So apart from that, most other normal things you'll be able to do.
Carlton, I had a doubt in graded assignment 0. That's
Okay.
number 8.
So these are parameterized, so it will depend on what.
Yes, I wanted to ask, are we expected to write a code in the console over here? Because I could just go through the elements panel and I could find this div and class name foo, and I just took the data value attributes. I went through that tree and I just took the data value attributes, added those up, and I could my answer came to be right. But
Yes.
I don't know what kind of code is supposed to be written in the console to get the same answer.
To get this answer you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. I also probably did the same thing if I remember correctly. I just used because the GA0 is meant to not tax you, right? It's just meant to see if you understand how to use this.
Yes, I just searched for foo. I
Correct.
just took all the data values.
Yeah. I mean, there is a way to programmatically do it, right? It's not that it
So
cannot be
I
done.
thought we are supposed to write a program in the console, and I couldn't do it. So I just wanted to confirm that is this approach all right?
Okay, yeah, that's fine. If you want to learn how to do it programmatically, we can do it in week 2, because in week 2, what happens is there's a software called sorry, not software, a library called Beautiful Soup. So that is studio, no, not that one. Well, I think it might be used in here, but it's primarily shown in these optional videos. These videos. Okay. So here we talk about Beautiful Soup, And what would happen is when you're looking at this page, for example,
Hmm.
you would extract this information into Beautiful Soup. You're able to extract the tree elements using Beautiful Soup,
Okay.
and mechanically you're able to sum them up. And that's where
Oh.
using the CSS selectors.
Hmm.
So say for example, oops, where is it? If you go here, so this is, I'm using the JavaScript command called query, document selector all, something like that it's called. This $ sign, it's a short form for that. And
Right.
then we are looking for, for example, the class foo. Oops. Something like this.
I think it has to be
Sorry,
div
yeah,
dot
sorry,
foo.
yeah.
Actually, now I went through week one video of
Yeah,
this, and I couldn't. I mean, I couldn't calculate that sum, but I somehow managed to. Yes, I managed to find these four things. That's it.
yes.
I
So,
couldn't go further.
yeah. So that's when you use the JavaScript. You can actually write JavaScript to do this as well, but we can do it using Beautiful Soup as well.
Okay.
So, and this is a good question to ask in ChatGPT, right? So write a JavaScript to extract this
I couldn't
class
get
selector.
anything through ChatGPT. Maybe I didn't write a JavaScript code.
Hmm.
I didn't give that input to
Yeah.
ChatGPT.
So
I will
yeah.
try.
So if you give this input and
Mhm.
say, how do I sum up the
Data.
elements, yeah, of data value in this particular class, then it might give you a script that will give you the answer to it.
Right.
So
Yeah,
that's why I
I
say
should
we
try.
are not too worried about your skill in JavaScript. As long as you can use the class selectors, that's important.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But
I did it using the chat GPT, and that code run in the console. But that answer is I I get the answer. I put in the sir questions, but it's wrong, sir.
mm-hmm.
Also
Okay.
in the sorted JSON, I sorted the JSON, but I uh, paste in the sir place and submit. This is wrong, sir. I don't know why this is
Um,
wrong. I check the no extra spaces left and right in between. Then also is wrong, sir.
okay. I'm not entirely sure why it would be wrong, because this one you're talking about, right?
Yes, sir.
So you opened this where? In what did you open it? Did you use VS Code?
No, sir. I use the chat GTP and uh, these I give that the JSON, okay, and uh, type the how to sort this JSON in a Python program. At
Okay.
this give the Python program with that JSON and put in. I use the collab to run that, sir. There the output and
Right. Yeah.
paste there, sir. Then also is wrong, sir.
Okay. What you can do is post it in the discourse, and we'll have a look at it and see what the issue is.
Okay, sir.
Because I personally did so that's the other thing TAs have to do. So for us, all of this is new. Every term there is a new GA created. So we are told to solve this ourselves first before it comes to you guys. So we ran I had solved all this, but it worked for me. So I'm not sure what is particularly wrong in the code that you wrote, but if you post it on discourse, and when you post it, right, post this is important. Where is that? You have to give this
Oh,
ID.
quiz ID.
Yeah, because then only we are able to check your specific question set.
So, but
Because
then
this,
even if we post it and if we
yeah,
shut down our laptop or whatever, it will get reloaded, right?
Um,
You get new sets of questions.
Yeah. So we
yeah,
can't. I had to keep my laptop on for a day.
yeah. So, I mean, with regards to this particular, I mean, see, the question is why is it wrong, right? We want to know why it's wrong, right? I mean, this is not graded, correct? You understand that, right?
Yes,
But we are
Yes,
yes.
sir.
trying. So this is a learning exercise, right? So in terms of learning, if we get this ID, right, then we are able to check why it's wrong, right? Then we have learned something. You
Right.
see, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, we might learn something from it, A, and then secondly, you might learn something from it. So that's what TDS is. We learn from each other. So this is the first time this kind of deployment has ever been done. This is not through portal, if you've noticed, right? So this is done through a different domain itself, right? We are trialing some new
New things.
some new ways of deploying
Yeah.
graded assignments and things like that. And what's unique about this is every student gets something
And
unique.
it's being experimented on us.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, you're not being. It's no marks for this, right? But the useful thing is you learned something through it, and
Yeah,
we
yeah,
also
yes,
learned
sir.
something through it.
Yes, sir.
I
Yes, sir.
mean,
So
so that
honestly,
was
in
fine.
this question, I just copied the full thing, including the question number, and put it in ChatGPT. Whatever ChatGPT gave me, I pasted as the answer.
Okay,
Yes,
I mean
I get the
that's
7
up to
marks,
you.
sir.
Yeah. So I
In the
mean, but
JSON dot terms, you have to specify the separators as comma and colon.
mhm.
So it removes all the commas and colons, and
Yeah. Yes,
sorry,
I
it
do,
removes
sir. I
all the
do.
spaces, and you just have to paste the
Yeah,
output.
Yeah.
I do all the stuff, sir.
Mhm. Yeah, just paste what you did. Paste your
Yeah.
code. Yeah. And with regards to if you use ChatGPT to do this, I mean that's one possible answer. But what if there were millions of JSON entries? Will you paste that into ChatGPT?
So I don't know what JSON is.
Okay.
So I had to.
So there is a simple way to learn, right? What JSON is. Instead of copy pasting the code, this is what I'm talking about: learning versus copy pasting. So you can just ask, right?
Yeah.
What is JSON? Right? This is called learning, right? It's still using ChatGPT, but now you're learning, right? So then you've gained something. So this is the difference, right? So there are students who go through the program, not just TDS, I'm talking about any subject. They copy paste GAs, for example. This is very common, right? Students who go on WhatsApp groups and things like that, and they copy paste, but they've not learned anything, right? So they have lost out, I would say. Sure, they got whatever 1 mark or 10 marks or whatever it is, but they have lost out on the more valuable thing. They have traded 10 marks for something that actually is infinitely valuable, learning, right? The learning will give them great success in life, but copy pasting will only give them 10 marks. So it's a foolish trade, I think, personally.
No, I thought it was allowed. Like it was completely
It's
okay, and
allowed. Yeah,
that's why everyone
of
was
course,
doing
it
it
is allowed,
till
brother.
this question.
Yeah, it's allowed. See, everything is allowed in TDS. That's what I'm saying, right? If you look
Everything.
at this, yeah, if you look at this, back to this course introduction, right? Because the only person you're cheating is yourself, actually. That's the thing. So I'm not saying using GPT is wrong. In fact, we encourage using GPT. Right? It is the wave of the future.
Yes,
But
sir.
yeah, but
Learn technology.
yes, but you can do this much of your grade, right? So 70% of your grade, and if you include the bonus, 75% of your grade, you can just copy paste it from GPT if you're very good at GPT. Yes?
Right.
Right, sir.
Okay. So, but has it been valuable to you? Have you learned something from it? That's my question to you. And in fact, it's not even my question. It's a question you should ask yourself. Have you learned something?
Yes, yes, sir. We get right? We get a new code from the chat GTP. First, I review that code, how it's work, and
Correct.
whenever I did not understand, I take that part of code and paste into chat GPT, and I
Ask again.
ask again, how it's work.
Yes.
Explain this.
Yes. Very good. That is exactly what I do.
Sir,
So when
my
I
chat.
don't know something,
Yes,
yeah.
sir. My chat GTP accounts like I use too much. That
Mm-hmm.
so that says use chat GTP after some times you are to run that commands.
Yeah. So yeah. So that's all I have to say about using ChatGPT. Definitely, we encourage it to use it, uh, but learn. I would say learn something through it rather than just blindly copy pasting everything.
So, what is the purpose of all the questions getting refreshed all the time?
It's so that you have to expend some. I asked. In fact, that's a good question. I asked Anand sir the same question myself. What's the purpose of having the questions refreshed each time? So he said the goal was he wants students, like particularly like graded assignment one is graded, right? So he wants students to actually do this all in one sitting, these 10 questions.
So, but at times it's not possible to do all of them in one sitting. Like,
That's something you'll have to take up with him, right? You'll have to, maybe you can mention on discourse and say, Anand sir, this is not possible to
big
do.
deal if I want to do 5 questions at a time and five some other day. Like,
Yeah.
why am I forced to do all
Yeah.
together?
I asked him the same question. I said, this is what students normally do. Even I do it, right? I do few couple of questions at a time, and then I go do something else or whatever. And so I asked him exactly the same question, but he said that was his objective. His
So
objective
we
was he
we are
wanted
working
students.
professionals. We are working
Hmm.
professionals also. So we might not get whole lot of time to do the full assignment at one go.
Yeah.
You have to plan a
It's
day for
yeah. I
to solve the
mean,
questions.
yeah, I would, if, I mean, you can raise this in discourse. You can just tag Anand. He reads the discourse, all the discourse posts, by the way. So you can tag him. I mean, this is what's unique about Anand, sir, which I very much respect him for. He's one of the very few professors who actually takes a lot of effort for the subject. So um, if you tag him on discourse and mention this issue to him, you can raise it to him, because I have raised it as well. I have mentioned that I think some students will uh, find this a bit challenging to do it all in one go because of various reasons. So I mean, it's not just the working professions. Say for example the computer crashes or something, right? Or you had to do something else or whatever it. There are many reasons why you may not be able to do it in one go, but that's what he said. In fact, I'm not even sure if he decided in the end not to refresh it. Let's have a look. I'll just copy this and see what happens here. And yeah, that changed, didn't it? Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I think, sir, good suggestion is to let that link, a particular link, sir. We get the random quiz ID. We
Hmm.
that store in a local storage in browsers for a one day
Hmm.
or for 2 days. After that, that interval we lost that. Sir, we have
Yeah.
to given that 2 days to
Hmm.
complete that the questions, all the questions, not
Yeah.
refresh the page and get the new random set of questions
Yeah.
back.
So
Good
bas-
suggestion. Yeah. Good
basically,
suggestion.
there can be a button to save whatever we
Yes,
have done.
save
Hmm.
changes we have written in that.
Yeah, I suggested that as well. I suggested that the questions be answers be auto saved. So yeah, I think what will happen is next term. See, this term they're only going to do it for GA0 and GA1. So it was just a trial.
Oh,
Next
I see.
term, next term they will roll it out for the whole
Mm.
TDS program. So these suggestions they will take into consideration for next term for sure. So
Sir, we
that
have
is
to
a good.
write.
Yeah, I would suggest write a discourse post. In fact, I raised this, the suggestion you said about auto saving. That also I brought up in the meeting with him. I said a saving feature would be good, where it saves, so that you at least the answers are saved, and still it'll be unique for each student, but it will at least for each particular student would be saved. But that was the goal. That's what he said to me. He said his goal is he wants students to be able to do it in one go.
Okay.
So that's why it was implemented. That was his objective.
Sir,
So in other
for
words,
this term, this is
yeah.
only for first week, first two assignment actually.
Yes, yes. The other assignments will all be in portal. They won't be like this, where it goes to a domain outside the portal.
Like this is a tested for first 2 weeks, right? No, first
Yes.
only 1 week.
Just first
0
1
and
week.
1.
Yeah, 0 and 1. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Someone
have a doubt
raised their hand.
regarding the
Yes.
GA1.
Charandeep. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a doubt regarding the GA1.
Yeah.
So there is one question, question number 4. So in that, it asks for like the last modified on or after a particular date.
Yes.
So when I open it in Bash shell, the modified date changes to the current date, whatever is the today's date. So like, and it's showing me error every answer I put it there. So I'm not getting it. Like, what's
okay.
the
So
on after mean?
yeah. Yeah. So there is. Are you using Windows?
I'm using Windows, but I have a Bash shell. Like,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
the
So the reason I asked this question is someone discovered that if you unzip this file in Windows, right?
Okay.
Then it resets all the dates to the current date.
Then
So
how do
that's
you
why.
proceed?
Yeah. So the solution to that, there is it's on this discourse post here. Where is it? So there is a solution to that. GA4. So this is the solution. When don't use the built-in extract all feature. What you do is use the unzip command. So you go to git bash and use unzip.
Okay.
Then it
Okay.
will preserve the original timestamps. This is a Windows
So
only problem.
So you can just drag it out of the zip file. And I got the answer
Maybe,
right
yeah,
away.
maybe possible. But if you use this, what is called Windows built-in extract all feature, it changes the date. So that's what
Sir,
Right.
causes the error.
Git
You
bash
can
is
just drag it out and put it on your desktop and open the Excel file, and you'll just
like
You can.
drag
copy
from
the
the
zip
direct
file.
zip file, right?
Yeah, just drag it
Let
outside the zip file.
let me just
Minimize,
try.
yeah, make it smaller, make the window smaller, and then just drag it into your desktop.
Yeah, you can give that a try.
That's what I did, and I use a Windows. It worked
Yeah,
fine.
great. Yeah. See, now I've learned something, right? So this is what I'm saying. TDS, we will learn from each other.
Right,
right,
sir.
sir.
Sorry.
Okay. If that's all, then we'll call it a night, and I'll see you guys next
Thank you.
Sunday, or if we might schedule one on Thursday as well. But if you're subscribed to the calendar, you'll see it. So just keep an eye out. Normally TDS sessions are Thursdays and Sundays, but at the moment, because it's just myself, at the moment only Sundays are scheduled. But if necessary, I'll schedule one for Thursday if at all that's possible. Okay.
Sir,
Go ahead.
sir, what will be there in that project?
So project, normally what happens is you will be given a data set, okay, and usually the data set will be a very large one. It will be unclean, and in that data, then you'll have to process. So we'll give you some set of questions, maybe 10 to 15 questions might be there, and then you will have to answer that questions from that data set that we give you. And then the second thing is you will have to create some charts as well. So those will be the two things you'll have to do.
No, actually, I just wanted to know, do we need to do any type of these HTML, CSS, or JavaScript things in that project?
Maybe it depends on where the data set is hosted. So last time the data set was in the form of HTML. but it was not clean HTML. So it was deliberately noised HTML. So you would have to then know how to scrape it from the website and then process the data. So it depends on each term, it's different. Yes, and no worries.
Okay.
Okay, anything else before we close up?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Good
Night, sir.
night. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, sir.